Alright, we are now working on PowerPoint 2016 Module 3 titled Finishing a Presentation. So the case that we're working on is that we've reviewed our work and we're pleased with our slides that we've created for the Reason to Go presentation. And so we're going to add some final enhancements to the slide because we want to make the PowerPoint presentation interesting to watch. Alright, so let's get started. First, let me go to inside of SAM. Let's locate the PowerPoint 4 textbook project. All right, and notice I do have additional files that I need to download in addition to my start file. I am going to come back over here and select my file name. And then I'm going to go ahead and download the start file. I do want that to open in PowerPoint. Okay, so while that's loading, I'm going to go ahead and download the JPEG file. I want to make sure that I'm going to save it, and I know that I have everything saved to my downloads folder, which I have moved to my desktop, so I know where that is. Alright, so here is my start file. I'm going to go ahead and save it, do a file, save as. I'm browsing to my desktop because that's where I like to save my work. I'm going to select the file name and replace it with the new name, and I'm going to say save. And we can get started. So every presentation in PowerPoint has a set of masters, and what the masters do is it's a layout, and it stores information about the theme and the layouts themselves. So that the master determines the position, the size of the text, and of the content placeholders, the fonts, the backgrounds, the colors, and the effects. We have three major slide views. There is a slide master view, a notes master view, and a handouts master view. Changes that we make to our slide master view are reflected on the slide in a normal view. Changes that we make to our notes master are going to be reflected in the notes page view, and changes made in the handouts master will appear when we print the presentation using handout printing options. The benefit to modifying the master is that you can make a universal change to the whole presentation instead of making individual repetitive changes to each of your slides. So that's the advantage. So we've started PowerPoint, we've opened up the presentation that we're going to be working on. We've saved it. So now let's navigate to the View tab. And on the View tab, we're familiar with the different presentation views. Now what we're going to be looking at is our master views. This is an entirely different group inside of on the Views tab. And again, we mentioned that there's three views: a slide master view, a handouts master view, and a notes master view. We're going to select the slide master button. And we want to make sure we scroll to the top of the thumbnail pane. And we're going to click on the WISP Slide Master thumbnail, which is my very first thumbnail, because this is the WISP. If I hover over it, the name should appear. There it is, WISP Slide Master. Notice it tells me what slides in my presentation are using this particular slide, and I see that it's being used by slides 1 through 15. Next, we're going to point to each of the slide layouts in my master thumbnail pane. So as I come down here, I see that this slide layout is used by slide 1. Slides 2 through 9 and 12 through 13 are using a title and a content layout. So that's interesting. This is not being used in our presentation. Let's see if this next one is. This is used on slides 10 and 11. This is not used. Let's see, is this layout? Nope, this layout is not used. And notice I need to swing around sometimes to activate it. Let me scroll down a little bit more and we'll come back up. There we go. Not used, not used. Alright, but we get an idea. There's a lot of different variations for these master themes, but there's primarily only a few of these layouts that are regularly used. They ask us to point to each of our layouts in our master thumbnail pane, but we're going to eventually settle on the title and content layout. There is the title slide. Here is the title and content layout. And again, it's pointing out to us that it's being used by slides 2 through 9. Okay. We're going to click on the WISP Slide Master thumbnail. And we're going to go up to the Insert tab on the ribbon. And I want to select the Pictures icon, the Pictures button. And I want to navigate to that image that I downloaded. So I know that I put that on my desktop. It's in my Downloads folder. And I want to find that image. There's that Reason to Go. So that logo is placed on my master, and so now it's going to appear on all the slides in my presentation. But we need to modify it. We don't want it to be smack dab right there in the middle because we can see what it's going to look like. We're going to go up to our size group, and in the width, we're going to change the width to 2.45. And I want to change my height I believe. Let me just double check this wording here. It says to click 2.45 in my width text box in my size group. And then in the size group, so click 2.45, so I guess we're changing it. It's not going to be 2.45. Let's go back. We want this to be 1.75. Actually, 1.75. Very confusing instructions. Alright, so we're going to now go to the color button in the adjust group. So here's the adjust group. We're going to go to color, and we're going to click on the set transparent color. Set the transparent color option. Alright, and we see that our pointer changes to this arrow, an arrow holding an arrow. We want to click the lime green line of our logo. And then we want to drag the logo to a blank area of our slide. And I don't think I did that right. Well, maybe not. They want us to come over here. Yes, this is what they would like us to do. I'm placing this over here. I'm looking at the textbook figures to determine where I am placing this. And I think actually I want to go a little bit higher. I want the top of my logo to be level with the content placeholder, this box right over here. So that's what I'm trying to line this up with. Looking for that red line to appear, and it's not coming. Right about here. And I'm going to release. Alright, so we removed that lime green from that. Alright, so we've added this logo to our master slides. But we're still in the master view. We're going to click the normal button on our status bar. Okay, so now we come out of that view. We came out of that view. Let's go ahead and save those changes. Now we want to customize our background and our theme. So every slide in PowerPoint has a background. That's the area behind the text and the graphics. And when we modify our background, we want to do this so we can enhance our slide when we use images in color. So we're going to, currently on slide number 1 for now, so it hasn't instructed me to go elsewhere. With that being said, I'm going to click on my Design tab on the ribbon, and I want to go to my Format Background button all the way to the right. It's in my Customize group. And notice it brings up this Format Background pane. I want to select my Solid Fill option button. And I want to look at my slide, and then I want to go to the Pattern Fill option, and they want me to select a dotted diamond pattern. It's in the 7th row. Dotted, here it is, no dotted grid, shingle, trellis. I don't see it in the 7th row, unless I passed it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think this is solid diamond grid. No, this should be, they asked me to select a dotted diamond. You see there's a sphere. Dotted diamond grid. I'm just going to click on some of these. Alright, I'm looking for a dotted diamond. I'm not seeing it. There's dotted. I don't know which of these is the correct one. Alright, so let me see again if I can find this. Now, they said it's in the 7th row, so I'm just going to go with this one because it has the words dotted and diamond. So I'm just going to stick with that one. I don't want to see my background graphics on this, so there's an option in here that says hide my background graphics. So I'm going to remove the hide my graphics. So all the background objects, that includes my logo, the red pentagon shape, the other color shapes are now all hidden from view. We're going to now click that hide background graphics again, and now we want to say reset the background to where it was. So all the background objects and the gradient fill again appear as the theme. We want to go to the picture or texture fill option button, activate that button, and we want to select the texture button. See, here's the texture. We go off to the right, and we would like a woven matte, and that's in the top row. We're going to take that transparency slider until we see 40%, or you could simply select and type in 40%. Okay, so we're done editing the background. So we're going to close our Format Background pane. We're going to click on the Slide 3 thumbnail, and we're going to now point to a variant of our theme. So we want to point to the black variant. So the new theme variant changes the color and shape of the slide and the background texture. So I'm pointing. I haven't actually committed to this. All right, so they asked me to point to other variants in here. And they say select the second variant from the left. So I'm going to go with this one. So the new variant is applied to the slide master and to all the slides in the presentation. Right, I'm going to go ahead and save those changes. Now we're going to work with some slideshow commands. I'm going to click on my slideshow button on my status bar. And I'm hitting my space bar. And by pressing the space bar or clicking my left mouse button, we're moving through the slideshow. There are other keyboard commands that you could use as well. This is easy to navigate through. Alright, I think I need to go back to my slideshow again here. They wanted me to move, they asked to move the mouse to the lower left corner. Oh, see right over here in the lower left corner, do you see these tools down here? You can also navigate this way as well. There's an option there that says to see all the slides, which is this button right here. This shows us all the slides, and they ask us to now select the slide 2 thumbnail. So now slide 2 appears on the screen. With our slideshow toolbar, we can emphasize points on our presentation by drawing or highlighting strokes on the slide. So we can go back down to this tools in the bottom left hand corner, and I can click on my pen and laser pointer, and I can select a highlighter. So now the highlighter changes to a pointer, and we can highlight anywhere on our slide. They ask us to highlight the text doubled between 1970 and 2015. So you got to be pretty steady here. And also doubled again in 50 years. It looks a lot easier than it is. You need a steady hand. Alright, I'm going to hit escape, and that pulls me out now of that highlighter mode. I'm going to do a right click on my screen. I get a shortcut menu, and there's an option. I can scroll down to my pointer options, and I'm going to point to my eraser. Whoops, let me go back there. Pointer options, and I want to point to the eraser. So now my pointer turns into an eraser, and I'm going to click on the lower highlighted annotation in my text, this one down here, and I'm going to remove that highlight. Again, I'm going to choose the escape key on my keyboard. Whoops, I hit it one too many times. I'm just going to say keep. I need to go back into my presentation. So let me go back into the presentation. I just wanted to turn off my eraser, and I hit it 2 times by accident. And so it was asking me if I wanted to get out of my presentation, which is not what I wanted to do. I now want to look at my more options down here. These are the 3 dots. Alright, so I want to click on the ellipsis, is what they call it, and that gives me more options. There is a view called Presenter View. So we're going to click on the Show Presenter View, and then there's an option there that says Pause the Timer button. Here it is up here. Here's the pause button. Pause the timer. So our presenter view is a view that we can use when we're showing the presentation through two monitors. One that we see as a presenter and one that your audience will see. The current slide appears on the left of your screen. This is the only object. This is what your audience will see, just this object. As the presenter, you get to see everything else. The timer that we pause identifies how long the slide has been viewed by the audience. We're going to click on the, let's see, hide presenter view. There's an option that says hide presenter view. So I need to click back down on my tools here, hide presenter view, and then I'm going to advance the next slide button down below here on the navigation. And now I see slide 3. Enter also advances until we get to the end of the presentation. When we get all the way to the end, it's going to ask me if I want my annotations. Now, if you recall, I had already pulled out, so it was asking me if I wanted my annotations. I do want to discard them. Alright, so when you get to the end, it will say, do you want to discard or keep your annotations? You're going to want to say discard because you're not going to want this to be highlighted. Mine is highlighted, and that is a mistake because I made that error when I hit the button one too many times. So I can go in and remove. I don't know if I can remove it. That's a really good question. I'm not sure if I can remove my annotations after the fact. So that's something I'll have to look into. Alright, now we want to take our slides and we're going to put some transition and some timing onto them. So a transition is the visual or audio effect that we apply to the slide, and it determines how each slide is going to move on and off the screen during the show. The timing will refer to the amount of time that the slide is going to be visible on the screen. So we're going to click on our slide 1 thumbnail, and I'm going to activate my Transitions tab, and I want to look at the More button, and you can see all the different options that you have: subtle, exciting, and dynamic. There are 3 groups. They would like us to select in the exciting section, drape, and we see that transition. We see a little preview of that. We also see a little star appear next to our slide thumbnail in the Slides tab. We can customize our transitions by changing the direction and the speed. So if you look at the effect options, we can have it go from left or to right. So now we're seeing it go right. We can also change the duration. So I can change the duration of that timing. Instead of 2 seconds, we can make that 3 seconds. And again, I can preview that. So now it's going to be a little longer or slower. We're going to apply that to all of our slides. Once I hit this Apply to All button, I'm going to see that effects icon appear and let me know that there is an effect on this slide. Alright, so now come back over, I can see that each of my slides now has an effect. Let's look at our slide sorter view. And again, we see this effects appear on the right hand side. So all of our slides now have a customized drape transition, and they're identified by a transition icon located below each of the slides. We also have the ability to determine how the slides progress during the slideshow, so either manually or by clicking on our mouse. So let's click on the mouse click checkbox. Let's make sure there's a checkbox in there. We want to clear that checkmark, so let's remove that. We want to click the up after arrow in our timing group until it says 7. That appears in our text box. And then we're going to say, apply to all. And now we see that 7-second duration for each slide appears next or below our thumbnail, next to the what do we call that? Transition icon. Let's go ahead and look at our slideshow. So the slideshow is going to advance automatically. A new slide will appear every 7 seconds, and it's going to use the drape transition. Alright, so when we get to the end, you can hit the space bar and we can move on. Alright, so we can see as we're moving through this, we're currently on slide 6. I'm getting impatient, so I'm actually going to pop out of here. I'm going to hit the escape button because we have 15 slides. I want to go back to a normal view, I think. Let me see. Yes, let's go back to a normal view. So I'm going to come down here and go back to a normal view. And I want to go to slide number 5. And I want to double click on my thumbnail. So I'll double click on my thumbnail. Okay, that actually, the reason I say double click on that is because they thinking we're in this view. I had this go back by the normal view. Double clicking actually brings us back to a normal view. Now let's click on our animations tab. Now animations are let us control how the objects in the text appear and move on the screen during a slideshow, and they allow us to manage the flow of the information and emphasize specific facts. So you can animate text and pictures, sound, hyperlinks, smart art diagrams, you name it, just about almost everything you can place an animation to. So we are on slide number 5, and we're going to click on our smart art to activate it. We want to activate the actual object itself. Let's go up to the More button in our animation group. So I'm in my animation group, and look at our More options, and we want to select a swivel entrance. So in my entrance category, let's select swivel, and we see that animation appear to that smart art. So animation can be serious, it can be businesslike, it can be humorous, but you want to make sure that you choose the appropriate effect for the presentation. Notice that a small number 1, see this number 1 over here, this is important, this is called an animation tag. It's going to appear next to the object. And animation tags identify the order in which the objects are going to be animated during the show. Let's click on the Effects option button in the animation group. So here's my animation effects. And I wanted to say that I want them to go all at once. And in my duration up arrow, I want to change that timing to 3. So my effects options are different for every animation. Some animations don't have any effects. Changing the timing will increase the duration and give it a more dramatic effect. So I can do a preview. Alright, so let's click on our slideshow button. And here they're going to show us what it looks like. So after the slide transition finishes, the shape option spins twice for a total of 3 seconds. Alright, I'm going to hit the escape button because I want to pull out. And let's click on slide number 2. So in my slides tab over here on the left, let's click our bullet list that we have here. I'd love to see if I could get rid of the highlighting here. Let me click on that. I select it and delete it. There you go, it's gone. Alright, I just selected it. Let me undo that so you can see what I did. It looked like this, right? And I actually just selected the actual highlighting that I put on there, and I hit the delete button to remove it. Okay, good. I feel better. That's gone. Alright, so let's select this bullet list. And we're going to choose the wipe in the animation group. So come up to my animation group and I want wipe. So the text objects, they're going to be animated with a wipe animation. Each line has an animation tag. See my tags? They each have a tag with a different number. So according to each paragraph, it's going to be animated separately. So all the 1s go together, all the 2s, and the 3s. Let's click on the effects options in my animation group, and I want these to appear all at once. Notice my numbers change. I also want to change my duration. I want them to appear all at once, but I want it to take 2 seconds. And let's go ahead and preview that. Alright, and notice that they all will appear at the same time. Let's click the population in my title placeholder. And I want to select the down arrow in my animation group, and I'm going to scroll down to where I see shapes in my motion path. So a motion path object appears over the shape, identifies the direction in the shape or the path, and when needed we can remove, resize, and change the direction. So notice that the number 2 animation tag, see it's right over here, there's the number 2, is next to the title text object, indicating that it's going to be animated after the bullet list. Alright, we actually want it to be earlier. So we're going to click the Move Earlier button in the timing group. So let's go to the timing group, and we're going to say Move Earlier. Alright, now let's click the From the Start for my slideshow tab. We'll say From the Beginning. Alright, so there's my animation. 7 seconds will go by. The new slide will appear. There goes my motion, and the other bullets should appear. Next slide comes. All right, I'm going to pull out of the presentation, so I'm going to hit my escape button. And let's move on. Now we want to look at our proofing tools and our language tools. So this time, these are tools that should not be unfamiliar to us. But what is going to be new to us is the translator button. So that's going to be interesting. The spelling is not new to you. So let's go to our review tab. And we're going to check our spelling. We see this pops up here. Our first one, this is somebody's name, so we're going to ignore that. Actually, we're going to want to say ignore all. Alright, we see here's another, this is an actual name of a location, so again we're going to say ignore that, and we're done spelling. We want to now move to slide 4, so let's scroll up and locate slide number 4, make that our active slide. We're going to go to the Translate button. I'm still in my Review tab. I want to go to my language group and I want to go to Translate in my language group, and here I want to select Choose Translation Language. And a Translation Language Options dialog box open. From this dialog box, we want to click the Translate to List arrow, this arrow right here, and I want to select Check. That's the option I want to select. Check. Select that, and then I'm going to say OK. So the translation box options closes. I'm now going to click the Translate button in my language group. I'm going to click the button. And now I want to select the mini translator, and notice in parentheses it says check. I'm getting an alert box. All right, I want to say yes. So the translator begins to analyze the selected text, and a semi-transparent Microsoft Translator box appears below the text. The mini toolbar may also appear above the text. Alright, so we can see the Microsoft Translator as I hover over. So I move my pointer over the Microsoft Translator box.
Water.
Alright, so you can see as I hover over.
Supply.
Okay, it's saying it in English, but I see it's translating it to the Czech language. Let's go back to our Translate button in our language group. We're going to click Choose Translation Language. From my list arrow, let's go back to English, United States, and then we'll say OK. We're going to click on the Translate button, and notice now it says Mini Translator, English, United States. Alright, so the mini translator is turned off, and the translation language is restored to its default settings. The next thing we want to do is inspect a presentation. We're going to click on the File tab. This brings us to our Backstage view. And we're going to click on the Add a Tag text box. It's in our Properties sections over here. There's an option that says Tags. Here it says Add a Tag. We're going to click in that box, and we're going to type in Kenya, comma, water well. Next, I want to click in the Add a Category text box right below. And here I'm going to type in proposal. Next, I want to click on the Show All Properties link. Okay, that's going to be down below, all the way at the bottom. So the information that we enter here about our presentation is used to identify and organize our files. So the properties, the Show All Properties, displays all the file properties that we can change. And so the Document Inspector is going to search for information that we may want to delete in the presentation. So let's click on the Check for Issues button over here to the left, and then we'll select Inspect Document. When we're prompted, we're going to say yes to save our changes. We want to make sure all the check boxes have check marks when this box opens. Alright, so they all have check marks. Let's scroll down. So make sure all the check boxes have check marks. So we'll put that one in there. And then we're going to say inspect. So the presentation file is reviewed. The results are shown. The inspector found items having to do with document properties, which that we just entered, and some embedded documents, which are the pictures. And we decide that we're going to leave those properties alone. They're fine. So we're going to choose the close on the tab. We're now going to click the File tab on our ribbon. Now we want to click the Protect Presentation button. And now we want to mark this as final. When prompted, here's our alert box. We're going to say OK. OK again. And now in the Home tab on the ribbon, notice up top here, alright, so what do we have here? They say, so when you select the title text object, the ribbon closes automatically, and information, the alert box notes that the presentation, look, we can see this in here, it's marked for final. If it's marking it as read only, notice up top here it's read only. If we want to edit, it's going to pull us out of that. They tell us to choose the Edit Anyway button in our information, and we can save our changes. So I'll go ahead and save those changes. I believe that concludes the assignment. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do the very, very last task. I am going to try. Let's go ahead and try. I might not be able to do this. So they have an Office Mix. An Office Mix is a free add-in application developed by Microsoft. Once it's downloaded from the web, you can integrate it directly into the PowerPoint ribbon with its own set of tools located on the Mix tab. So using Mix, you can create and insert interactive content onto the slide of your presentation. Things such as a video recording of you giving a presentation, video clips from the web, interactive quizzes, and things like that. Once you finish creating your Office Mix, you can publish it to the website or to the cloud to be shared. So let's go ahead and see if we can do this. I'm not quite sure if we're going to be successful here. I'm going to click on slide number 3, and I want to click on the Mix tab on the ribbon. See, there is no Mix tab on here. I'm going to pause for a second and see if I can install it. I think it's an add-in. Okay, so I actually went out to the web and went to Microsoft, and I downloaded the Office Mix add-on for PowerPoint. So you'll notice it now appears at the top, and I've never used Mix, so this is unfamiliar to me, but I think we'll be fine. So we're going to activate slide 3, and we're going to click on the Mix tab on our ribbon, and notice the different commands on the Mix tab. There is a slide recording button. We have a recording option in here, and this is really, really interesting and fun, so I'm glad I actually have this installed. So the screen recording view opens, so they want us to click on that, and that shows, and that displays in the current slide with navigation recording and some inking tools. So when we're ready, they want us to begin recording, and we're going to click the record button in the record group, and we're going to look into the camera, and we're going to speak the words into the microphone. What I'm going to say is this chart shows the population trends for Kenya, Uganda, and South Africa. And so I'm going to be recording myself for these next 2 slides, and we're going to play it back and I guess see what it's like. Alright, so where's my record button? Here's my record button up here. I'm going to click my record. Here I go. This chart shows the population trends for Kenya, Uganda, and South Africa. R2G has several priority projects. Alright, so that was tough. I had to say those two slides, and then they wanted me to draw a line under well water production. Let's click the preview slide recording. R2G has several priority projects. You can see I'm struggling with that pen. I guess, let's see. I can escape to get out. So when we're done, we can click the close button. And there is an option to upload to Mix button in our Mix group. So update, here's upload to Office Mix. We should read the information and then click the next button. So create an interactive online mix, prepare offline mobile, create, we're going to choose next. And that will, we click our account button. You need to be, I believe, on the Office 365 for this to work. So this may or may not work for us in class. Alright, so it wants me to sign into my Microsoft account. So here's my work account. Alright, let's see if this works. So I'll say I'm uploading a new mix. Okay, so I can see I'm uploading this to my space on the web. Alright, we're getting the percentage of what is being processed and uploaded. Alright, so it's taking a while to process. We're at 25%. And I don't know if I need that to be open, so I'm just going to close that out. We have a upload to mix pane. Okay, I think I just closed that out. here is the upload to Office Mix. Alright, that's if we're uploading. I'm going to close that out. Here's a preview of what I did. Oh, and it looks like it's going to the Office Mix website. So I'm going to see a category that'll say My Mixes, and then I can click on the PowerPoint 4R2G play button and then follow the screen to watch once it's all saved. Let me click on My Mixes and let's see what I get. Oh, there it is. Okay, so the upload is in progress. I'm not able to actually view it at this time. Alright, and they ask you, once you get into your, you can see it, they tell you to come over here to sign out. Alright, so that concludes the Chapter 4 PowerPoint. Do not worry if you cannot complete the final one for creating the Office Mix. I probably will not complete that in class. I don't think we're going to have the tools, the add-on in our classroom for us to do that, so I don't want you to worry about that. Alrighty? Thank you.